Well, all right. My name's Glen Gross, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about the Overtone series. We hear a lot of talk on the trumpet about various techniques, but not as much about the Overtone series. And I think the Overtone series is one of these amazing things that we get to work with on the trumpet. So, as you probably know, the fundamental pitch on the trumpet is an octave below the notes that we normally read. So, our lowest note, F sharp, our lowest note, F sharp, is basically the second overtone. And if you start counting from two, the next overtone above that is the perfect fifth, which we think of as the third partial or the third overtone. Then the fourth overtone is the octave, which is actually two octaves above the fundamental. And there's a great benefit to just doing these exercises where you slur up and down from the lowest overtone to the highest overtones. So I'd like to suggest that one of the exercises you might really benefit from would be adding one overtone each time. And this has the interesting feature of giving us an entire dominant seventh chord after we hit the seventh and eighth harmonics. So it sounds like this. And just that exercise is really good for you. You can do it through all the valve combinations. But I'd like to draw special attention to that seventh harmonic. Now we think of that note as like a false note on the trumpet because according to the Arbin book, it's too low. That fingering is just too low to use. But actually, that note is the dominant seventh. It's the seventh degree of the dominant seventh chord, perfectly in tune. It's 31 cents flatter. That's 31 hundredths of a tone flatter than the tempered seventh. But it's exactly where we want to play the note if we're playing it with a chord so that there won't be any beats. So let's listen to that note again. And so it's kind of like the blue note. It's where the guitar player would bend the note to make it in tune with the natural dominant seventh chord. Now, an interesting thing happens when we get up above the eighth harmonic. We can actually play a whole scale on the trumpet using the same valve combination. Now, on this flugelhorn, this is a Bach USA flugelhorn. It sounds almost like a major scale, which I find interesting. I mean, I'm sure the design of the bell has something to do with it. The 11th harmonic will sometimes be closer to the sharp 11th and sometimes closer to the natural fourth of the scale, depending on the type of horn and the construction. But I think it's very interesting that we can play that whole scale. When we get to this eighth harmonic, then from there on, we can play the whole scale. Now, it takes a while to get used to playing those notes, but if you know that you're playing natural overtones, there's a benefit to practicing that way because you can add them one note at a time. So a really good drill is to do this. And here you can decide for yourself, does that sound like a perfect fourth or does that sound like the sharp 11th? My theory is you could probably lip that up and it would sound like a sharp 11th, and you could probably lip that down and it would sound more like a perfect fourth. But just to understand that you can play the whole scale without having to use the valves is really a good thing to know about, because it teaches you where the partials actually are in the Overtone series, and that helps you play in tune even when you're using the valves, because every valve combination represents a different bugle. So I can do this, and I can also do this. And you can keep going up. So being able to know where those notes are within a single Overtone series helps you nail all the other ones as well. So I hope you found this to be helpful. I'm planning to make more instructional videos, but this is just a little taste of one focusing on the Overtone series. If you have any questions, please send them to me either on Facebook or on YouTube, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Have a great day.